Hello, BIOL1001. Welcome to week 13, the second to last week of the semester. We are moving right along with our investigation of ecology. And this week we're going to be focusing on two major fields in ecology: community ecology, i.e. the study of how species interact, and then ecosystem ecology. So the broader picture of how ecosystem processes come about through the underlying interactions of species, i.e. community ecology. So they are related, right? The community ecology section, chapter 22, is going to be focusing on, like I said, how species interact, how we get stable communities, and then how these communities can fall apart, how these interactions can fall apart. And we're going to be focusing there on research that's being done into this honeybee mystery. And it's a mystery because honeybees across the United States have been in major decline over the last 10 years. And what are the underlying drivers of that process? And of course, this has major agricultural implications because honeybees pollinate the food we eat. So, to understand honeybee collapse, we need to understand how honeybees fit into the communities that they live. They rely on plant species. Those plants rely on the honeybees. That's a community ecology problem. Then we're going to be moving on to chapter 23. This is going to be our study of ecosystem ecology. So how do these species interactions sort of drive the broader picture of ecosystem processes? And by processes, I mean things like the nitrogen cycle. So we'll be learning about how nitrogen flows through these ecosystems. We'll also be looking at the carbon cycle. How does carbon flow through these ecosystems? And of course, this has direct relevance to our lives because the carbon cycle is what's driving what we know of as global climate change. So, we as humans have input a large degree of CO2 over the last century into the atmosphere. We're continuing to do that at a rapid clip, and this CO2 this increased CO2 results in what we know as the greenhouse effect, which warms our planet. And so we're going to be understanding the underlying ecosystem processes that relate to that process, right? The carbon budget, in other words. Where does carbon come from? Where does carbon go once it's in the atmosphere? And then how does that sort of balance out, and how have we tipped the scales in terms of our impact on global climate change? So those are the two main subjects we're going to be focusing on this week. It's a lot, but it's also fairly relevant to your direct lives. So strap in, do the reading, take the quiz, do the essential questions with your group, and then of course for the lab, we can't forget the lab. This is our last week of lab. Which means that our final projects, our individual reflections for the Serengeti Snapshot project, are due this week, Monday. That's going to be it for the lab. That's our last assignment. We don't have an assignment next week for lab. So take your time, really focus on this, make sure you follow the rubric so you get all the points in this assignment because it's worth a pretty significant part of your lab grade. And if you have any questions, please email me. I'm always willing to help. Any aspect of lab or the reading that you don't quite understand. All right, good luck. Have a good week.